Hey, what's up, crew? This is Parker and Drew, and that was a rhyme. We're so glad to join you here again on Wednesday night. This is week 2. We don't know how
Who
long
knows?
we're going to be walking through some parables on Wednesday nights, which is really exciting. And if you weren't here last week, or if you didn't catch last week's video,
You can still go watch it.
you can watch it. It's out there somewhere. But a parable is a story that Jesus told. It was an earthly story with a heavenly meaning. It was a story that Jesus told that people would understand, but it had a deeper meaning. That had a lot to do with him and his kingdom work and his followers and all those things. So we're going to walk through another parable tonight in Matthew chapter 5. So grab a Bible. They make these paper Bibles, which are really great and come in handy while you're watching a video. You can also look at the Bible, and it says this in Matthew chapter 5, verse 14. It says, "You're the light of the world. A city on a hill cannot be hidden. Nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a stand, and it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven."
Yeah, so Jesus is talking about something we all know what it is, right? Light. It is something we all deal with. We've all walked into a room and thrown on a light switch. If you were like me when you were a little bit younger, maybe some of us still do, you have a little night light that lights up the dark room so you're not scared in the middle of the night, right? Light has a purpose. And it would look real weird if Parker and I were sitting here in this room and we didn't have any light going on. And he would probably be maybe looking at me, looking at the camera. I have no idea. You can't see me. But a light is there to light up the darkness. And what Jesus is telling us here is that we are the light. He says a light is not meant to be hidden. That's hot. It's not meant to be hidden. It's not meant to put a basket over, a blanket over it. It's not meant to be turned off. A light is meant to be turned on to light up the darkness so that people will see, unbelievers will see the believers in their good works, and they will see how they are portraying and proclaiming the gospel of Jesus, and they will then see Jesus himself.
Yeah, and the beauty of all of this is the gospel, actually. The cool thing about this story is that he says we're the light of the world, but it has nothing to do with us, actually. Later on in John chapter 8, I think Jesus says, "I'm the light of the world."
Yeah.
So the only reason that we're the light of the world is the fact that we have him in us.
Yeah.
And First Peter says that we've been called out of darkness into his marvelous light. And then it even says in Psalms, "Your word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path." So the only light that we have is him. So that's the beauty of this, is that he's called us, he's chosen us to go and be light into this dark world. And that's his plan to reach the world, that he would call us into his light, that he would be a light in us, and that we would go and have good works and love the people around us and be kind to those, and that they would see the light in us in the midst of this darkness, and it would point ultimately to the greater light, which is him. So that's our mission. That's what we're called to do, is to go be light in dark places. And COVID-19 is actually a pretty easy place that we can go be light in the darkness.
Yeah, and I think that when we encounter things like this that kind of disrupt our norm, I think it's easy for us to put, I can be a light for Jesus within my little schedule of I'll be a light for Jesus on Sundays and Wednesdays. I'll be a light for Jesus in that small group I'm in. But when you come to these things that are out of the norm, it's okay. We are still called to be light. And COVID-19, the coronavirus, a quarantine, it cannot cover up the light that is inside us, like you were just talking about. It doesn't cover up. Jesus is the true light, and we are still called to be a light for him, to point people to him. And so that might look a little bit different during a quarantine, during a coronavirus chaos, than it does on a normal day 3 months ago. And so we kind of have to be creative if we're going to be a light in this world. And you can do that in a few different ways. You can do it, social media is a great place where you can be a light for him. We're all probably, if you're on social media right now watching us, but you're on social media probably all the time, more than normal during this quarantine, and you can be a light for him on social media, on your Instagram and on your YouTube, and even on TikTok. You can be a light for him in those media outlets, and you can. Parker talked about this a few weeks ago with me of when this kind of stuff started. Is there are certain people that are more susceptible to this. And man, what if we as believers came together and showed whether it's a grandmother or it's an elderly neighbor who can't go get their own groceries or can't go run an errand, what if we stepped up and loved them in that way, and we just said, hey, we're going to protect ourselves, put on gloves, masks, whatever we need to do, but if you need groceries, we will go do that. What if we pick up the phone, or we create one of those, a YouTube, and send it to a grandparent saying, hey, we love you, we miss you, we just want to let you know that we're thinking about you, we're here for you, whatever you need. What are some other ways we can be creative in this time?
Man, there's a ton of ways. And the crazy thing about it is every day it seems like there's another update that has a little bit of darkness.
Yeah.
Another statement, another report of more sickness and more stuff going on. So we want to actually turn the kind of tables on you and say, hey, here's what we want you to do for the next few minutes in your groups, via Zoom or whatever you guys want to use, to get in your groups and talk about, hey, what are some practical ways that as a group we can be light in a dark time, in a dark world. And so you guys discuss that in your groups. Please send us some pictures and all that stuff. Screenshot your big group. We'd love to see it, and tag us in some questions if you got them. But we hope this was helpful. We hope it provides some great discussion for you.
I forgot to mention this. And we talked to, one of our crew leadership team members has talked to MIFA and the Memphis Food Bank. And what if we, as crew, kind of set aside the $5 that we would spend on Starbucks every day and kind of dedicate that money and donate it to one of those organizations that are helping people today and throughout the next few months, the people that are affected by job loss and not being able to have all the food and things, necessities that we need. And so another challenge for y'all, talk about that in your small groups like Parker said, and you'll see us next week, and we love you guys.
Bye.